Hey everybody, welcome back to Pints and Projects. First of all, I am sorry it's been a minute. I've just been kind of busy piecing some other things together, so I haven't really been terribly dedicated to the channel at all, but I am back, and I do have a little quick video for you guys. I picked up this recently. This is a Tower 120 film camera. This was sold by Sears and Roebuck, as you can see here on the front. And I way overpaid for this camera, 20 bucks. It's not worth 20 bucks. It's not in immaculate shape or anything, but the shutter does actuate and all of that stuff. A little bit of cleaning, and really honestly, this camera will be good to shoot on again. Now, the funny thing about these, Sears actually contracted with other camera companies of the time to manufacture their cameras. So I thought it was funny that this camera looked very similar to another camera that I have. There's obviously some similarities here, very much, hey, don't copy my homework kind of deal. But no, Photak actually manufactured the Tower 120. Sears sold a lot of cameras under the Tower name. I can't really find a specific camera wiki page that has a picture of this exact camera and when it was made. All I can see online is that these were made sometime in the 50s. There was a lot of different iterations of this that Photak made. Photak kind of had a lot of different kind of generic box cameras that they sold at the time. Obviously my Spectator is in a lot better shape than this other one, but they're pretty much identical. There's like some very minor differences, but for the most part, my Spectator is actually in better shape. I actually haven't cleaned this one yet either, so I guess it really just kind of depends on how long I spend on this. Maybe we'll clean this one up too. I've also noticed the shutter's kind of sticking on this, but I don't know if I have any lubricant. So, but we'll work with what we got here. These box cameras are very easy to work on. It's a simple matter of how easy they come apart. So as you can see, here's the slide tray here. But we do have some rust here on the rollers, so we want to try and get that stuff off. There's different ways to do it, but the inside of the camera looks all right. There's a few little rust spots that we'll need to clean, but other than that, looks like the shutter's in good shape here. This one looks like it only has 2 screws holding it on. I hate flatheads so much. This should come off. So there's our lens right there. That makes it pretty easy to clean. Here's the mechanism. As you can see, we're starting to have some flakiness here. So we'll probably clean this up to avoid the shutter sticking. That's probably why the shutter is sticking on my other one as well. We're just gonna scrape off what we can. That's gross. This shows like how cool the mechanisms on these really are. So you can see here's the shutter here. So it just actuates this little arm that spins the little disc around with this spring. To do a timed exposure though, it brings out this little foot here. So right here. And if you watch this little brass part, you'll notice it now is underneath a little arm there, so that the arm is getting caught on this little piece. So if I move this out of the way, that little brass piece is now lined up with the thing there. So pretty cool. Wow, this thing is pretty bad. I just wonder if I should just pull this assembly off. I don't think it's gonna hurt nothing. Doesn't look like it would. Just want to be careful not to touch any extra areas, or others we'll have to put some like dry lubricant on. So yeah, that's just the base camera right there. So we're just gonna scrape off the rest of this. I'm just gonna hope that this doesn't cause light leaks. This might cause light leaks, but we'll have to take it out, shoot with it, just to know for sure. But I do know for certain that all of this paint can't just flake behind that lens or the shutter, because it's gonna get the shutter jammed. That is what we do not want. All right, I think that might be sufficient. So we're gonna put this back, line up the holes here. Yep, looks good. Cool. All right. So let's get clean in here. So I typically use Q-tips and some rubbing alcohol because it evaporates very quickly. Never really damages anything either, which is really nice. Just gonna clean up the lens. You do have to be careful on some of these box cameras because some of these box cameras have what is it called? They have plastic lenses, so you need to be careful with that. It's actually cleaned up pretty good. I'm actually very surprised on how well that lens cleaned up. A little on this rag here. Clean the outside of it. I never go too crazy with these restorations because I want to retain the look. So I like the weathered look. You know, there's a lot of people who will go through the trouble of like doing a full restore on these. And, you know, I respect the people who do that, but I like keeping the patina. I like, you know, it shows that it's lived, had life. You know, even if it sat for, you know, however long in somebody's basement, you know, it still has something to it, you know. And this doesn't have any kind of internal lens. Some of these will have two lenses, so they'll have one on the face, one here. So this one doesn't appear to have that, just has the one glass lens. Kind of nuts how clear that is now. Almost looks like there's no glass there. Let's give this body a good wipe down. Some areas on here it really could use cleaned really well. It looks like the side here is flaking off. Yeah, it's gonna continue to get worse, surely. I don't know how clear these, like the viewfinder is gonna get. I don't want to go through the trouble of trying to remove the lenses. I'm gonna try and do what I can without removing it and then see if that does anything. I don't think there's a ton of dirt on the actual inside of this lens here. Let's take a look. It's actually pretty clean. It's crystal clear compared to how it was earlier. It was very blurry and unusable. So I think it was just most of the dirt was just tucked up in this crevice, hard to get to. All right, clean this off. On the off chance I get questions about like, what's the right price? If $20 wasn't the right price, I would pay maybe $10 for something like this. Something that is beat up. Like, this would be nine times out of 10, this is going to be somebody's, like, shelf thing. They're not going to use this. They're going to take it home. They're going to stick it on their shelf in their, you know, home in Overland Park. And it's just going to sit on a shelf as an antique. Something that is untested and unknown to work is not worth very much, at least to me. Maybe to a collector, this is worth something. You know, like, oh, well, you know, this will look great on my, you know, with some of my other little quirky camera stuff, you know. But from a photographer's perspective, like, if I'm buying this to shoot, you know, it needs to be in fully working condition. And you could play that to your advantage, especially if you're buying it from someone who doesn't know anything about these cameras. Like, this to them means nothing. This doesn't tell them whether the camera's working or not, whether the shutter is actuating. It's like, there could be any number of reasons why one of these cameras would be broken. So definitely use that to your advantage to try and get a better deal on these, because 20 bucks is kind of ridiculous for something like this. Something that's not even the original. This was based on another design. So, you know, to take a quick look at my Spectator here, I'm just curious if this one's fallen to the same fate as the Sears one here and is internally jammed because of the paint flake. Well, seems fine. So this is actually quite interesting. So this has the flash mechanism on it. So this is the only difference between the Spectator and the Tower. They did have a regular Spectator that didn't have a flash on it, but this one does. So it's kind of really cool to look at the little, you know, extra little mechanism that they added for that. We're gonna try this. There we go. Yeah, so all I did here was I just used some heavy duty silicone lubricant. Generally, I don't use that for like cameras and stuff, just because like this stuff, like it kind of dries, but it also can attract dirt and stuff. So I tried to avoid using that for stuff like this, but I cannot find my dry lubricant for the life of me. I have no idea where it is. I cannot find it, so I have no idea, but it is fixed. It is working now. As you can see, this is how it's supposed to be actuating now. So the viewfinder on this one's actually pretty clean, so I'm not gonna have to worry about that, but I am gonna have to worry about this though, because it is gross, absolutely gross. Just give the front a quick wipe down. That looks a lot better already. Yeah. I'm gonna get all this dust off of here. I don't remember where I got this one or how much I spent on it. I think I got this from my local flea market. I think I bought this to make a video about it, but then I forgot. So I guess now I'm not. So one of the cool things about these, they were made here in the US, here in Chicago. So that's kind of cool. There's one that I want to get called the Traveler that my mom has. I meant to try and shoot on it, but I think I'm just going to buy one for myself. But it's also made by Photech, so I want to give that one a try. But just like that, this thing is pretty much ready to shoot again. I'll have to see if I decide I'm going to take this one out. I think if I had the choice between the two, I think I would take this one, just because this one's been a little bit better shape. But they're both very good cameras, and I'm excited to take them out and shoot at some point. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.